an interval. Perfect level of enthusiasm. And more than that, I feel surplus to the requirement. Anybody making any new friends at the interval? No, we do not do that shit here. It's too cold to make new friends. I don't even know why I asked that question. I asked that question once in Newcastle. I said, does anybody make any new friends at the interval? And one person said yes. Which gets more depressing the longer you think about it. One person who clearly thought two people were going to say yes. One person made a new friend, and one person met an annoying person. It's nice being back on the road again. A lot of the gigs I've been doing on this tour, the rooms have been too warm, and the audience feel like they're falling asleep. But we really do not have that problem. This is better. Too cold is better than too hot. I've been to some places that is just the fucking room is the worst temperature for comedy, ideal temperature for proving dough. This is absolutely, you cannot fucking fall asleep in this. They clearly have not yet turned the heating on for the year. Perfect. Anyway, so, welcome. So the show is called Tragedy Plus Time. It's the story of the darkest joke I ever told in my life. Who would like to hear the story of the darkest joke I ever told in my life? Yeah. It's going to be a long fucking night for you, not. Apparently it was Mark Twain who came up with the idea that humour could be defined as tragedy plus time. The idea being that something that's not funny at the time can become funny after some time has elapsed. Now, I think the bigger tragedy is, the more time has to elapse before it can become funny. So for instance, a very minor tragedy before me last year, I had my car broken into, right? And it wasn't funny at all at the time. Got back to the car, glass on the ground, bag gone, fucking raging. But the very next night, I was on stage making jokes about it, right? And it happened of all places in a I was down in Chiswick, in southwest London. Yes, Chiswick, which is a posh place. Which is not a place you expect your car to get broken into. Chiswick these days is more famous as a place where blokes who are terrorist suspects who've escaped from Wandsworth Prison get found. Like fucking 4 days later, even though it's an hour's walk from Wandsworth Prison. 4 fucking days that guy had. And he was found in Chiswick. I could walk to fucking Scotland in the time it took him. I'm starting to think these people are not the threat they thought they were. He strapped himself, Cape Fear, remember this? He strapped himself to the underside of a van. That is hardcore. Escaped prison. Goes, shall I head for the Channel Tunnel? No. I need an artisanal bun. I know I should meet up with other members of my terror cell, but there's a ceramic painting cafe that is just hardcore. And he was totally in prison. He was absolutely in prison. No one can deny it. He was in fucking prison. And then he totally wasn't in prison. And they took him back to prison. And he pleaded not guilty to escaping from prison. Balls on this guy. He should be in prison. We should put him in the Traitors. He would be amazing in that show. By the way, thanks for being here. When you really you'd rather be at home finding out if Diane is dead or not. Really appreciate it. So Chiswick, it's not a place we expect the car to get broken into. It's a posh place. Dara O'Brien lives in Chiswick. That's all we need to know about Chiswick. But I'm actually staying at his house, right? I do 2 nights at the Comedy Club. We do the Friday, Saturday, and there's budgets on the bill. I was on the last, obviously. On the Friday, we're all making jokes, having a little pop at Chiswick about how posh Chiswick is. Everybody on the bill, including me, we all had a little thing at Chiswick for being posh. Don't worry, I can't see your face. Right? And I did the same, but then the following night, after what happened, after getting the car broken into, again, everybody else on the bill before me goes on, makes jokes about how posh Chiswick is. I go on the end and go, oh yeah, we're all sliding off Chiswick for being posh. Well, last night I parked my car not 200 yards from where you're all sat, and some scrote pan your window in, and then you fucking back. So I think Chiswick is a shithole. Let me tell you, Lancaster, you have never heard an audience cheer a crime as loudly as we did this. They were fucking delighted with themselves. You could see it in their posh little Chiswick faces. They're like, oh, maybe Chiswick, but it has an underbelly. Oh, we're loving it. get the bag back. I was quite pleased that I did get the bag back because they nicked the electronics, but they nicked the iPad and the podcast recording equipment. Yes, because I'm a man who carries podcast recording equipment with him these days. Because I'm a straight, white, middle-aged stand-up comedian, so I have a fucking podcast. I don't want a podcast. It's not your fault to have a podcast. You people still pay money to come and see me live. It's those dicks who don't come and see me anymore. And those assholes now have a fucking podcast now. Download, like, subscribe. Leave a good review, it really helps the algorithm. God, it's one step above wanking off dogs for drug money. What has become of us? So that all got nicked, but my iPad made a last little cry for help. Did a last little, let the iPhone know its last load location and it'll miss you. So I found the iPhone, I didn't find the iPhone, I found where my bag was. It was on a park bench in a park. That's where a park bench is. And that's their environment. And so I was not surprised that my electronics were stolen, but I was surprised to look in the bag and my clothes weren't in the bag. I packed clothes over, and they were nice clothes, because I have to dress nice when I'm staying with my friend who's still on the television. So, he makes me dance for him. Not make me dance for him. I do have to pretend to give a fuck about space. I was surprised that the clothes weren't there. That didn't surprise me. But then I found the clothes. I had not stolen clothes. The clothes were in a bin. They'd obviously reached the clothes out, nicked the electronics, and then put the clothes in a bin. How posh is Chiswick? People that scroll to nick your bag draw the line of littering, apparently. Just imagine when people last season. And then I had to get a new window for the car, and that was a pain in the arse all of its own. I've only been placed in Chiswick, no one could help. So I got sorted when I got home. Phoned my local Jeep garage. It was a 7-year-old Jeep Renegade. Don't be jealous. And I phoned up Glen Hopkins in Cambridge. And And I said, yeah, it's a 7-year-old Jeep Renegade. I need new window at the rear, passenger side window. And the first word out of this woman's mouth, service department at Glen Hopkins, Cambridge, the first word out of her mouth. And I said, I need a new window for the car. She said, that won't be a problem. I said, you want to hear that? That won't be a problem. That's a fucking beautiful phrase, isn't it? Dude, what do you think when you hear the phrase, that won't be a problem? It's not going to be a problem. There we go. That's very literal interpretation of what I just said there. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more extemporizing or paraphrasing, but no, you fucking stuck it straight. You hear that won't be a problem, you think that's not going to be a problem. That's what I think. That won't be a problem. That's fucking music in my ears. I love the phrase, that won't be a problem. Dude, I don't know you there. What's your name with the X on your what's your name? Sam? Sam, don't know you, Sam. I am guessing, though. I'm guessing. If I was to say to you that I would like to gently rest my balls in your mouth, I'm not going to say to you, Sam. I'm not going to say I'm saying if I were talking purely hypothetically. I'm saying if I was to say that to you, I am guessing your response would not be, that won't be a problem, right? It won't be a problem. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. Nothing. Nothing is going If I was to say that to you, you would not respond with the phrase, that won't be a problem. Because of course it'd be a problem. Be a problem for you, be a problem for everyone I would make watch. Obviously be a problem. So you're not going to say that. And I said that's what a new window for the Jeep, and she said that won't be a problem. And then the next sentence to leave her lips was, but we don't do windows. So you have to phone maybe Autopass? Let's see, this has been a bit of a roller coaster, this conversation. What do you think? That won't be a problem, mate. She's only thinking, well, that won't be a problem for me. Because my involvement in this begins and ends with me, so that you fuck off to all of that. Yeah, I'm so used to that now when I don't want to do things I'm asked to do. Or I was going to put the bins out, that won't be a problem. material, that's that window paid for. Right? Not a minor tragedy, not funny at the time, not 24 hours later, on stage making jokes about it, right? Now, a bigger tragedy takes a bit longer before it can become funny. So, coming up on 2 years ago now, my little brother died, right? Which I know doesn't sound like a very promising thing to say in a comedy show. My little brother died. Not a great way to open a comedy show, excellent way to end a conversation. But he wanted me to talk about it. He wanted me to talk about the fact that he wasn't a comedian, but he was a comedy writer and a comedy director. And he would want me to turn his death into a one-person touring solo. Because his thing was working with comedians and helping them become funnier. And he absolutely wanted me to talk about the fact that he died. So if you don't laugh at this shit, you're the ones disrespecting the dead. Hey, look at the bright side. At least on another show there'll be fucking kids, right? I mean my kids. No, I've heard some feedback, Twitter, and I've listened to it. One of the criticisms of the last couple of tours I've done is that they have focused quite heavily on the subject of parenthood. I think it's boring, particularly if you don't have kids. I completely understand that. You don't have kids, and then your mates start having kids. You start going out with them, and they're all like, "Oh, it won't change us." It doesn't change them. It does change your topic of conversation, though, doesn't it? It suddenly seems to revolve quite heavily around the subject of having kids. And then as the dominoes start to fall and all your mates all start having kids, you're going out and they're all just sitting around talking about nappy changing and breastfeeding and soccer practice, and you're just like, I am not going out with these boring arsehole one more time. Next time you have to go out with them, I'm going to go see a comedy show instead. Where a comedy show, a comedian comes out and just starts talking about his fucking kids. Again, this show's not about me kids, it's about me dead brother. Be careful what you wish for. But look, I want to give you license to laugh at this kind of stuff because he was a funny guy. He was, I'll give you an example. Like when I went to see him in the hospital when he first got sick, in November 2021, he first got sick, his liver failed. I say it failed. It didn't do it on its own. There was a certain amount of user error involved. If that had been a dishwasher, he definitely violated the warranty on that thing. You can't keep shoving in more dishes, but it's still working on the dishes that are in there. So, he needed a liver transplant, and he was quite philosophical about it, right? And we were sitting there in the canteen in the hospital chatting about it. He goes, you know what, Ed? It's not the fact that I might die. Obviously, I'm not jazzed about that. It's more the fact that in order for me to live, someone else has to die. That's a lot to take on. I'm waiting for someone else. I feel like a vampire. Waiting for someone else to die so I can have their liver. It could be somebody nicer than me, and that's what I need. I need their liver for me to live. That's a lot to take on. I was like, yeah, man, I imagine that's pretty heavy. And then we kind of sat there and he went, but you know what? 2 people probably died to make me fucking iPhone. I give you some license. Alright, I'll give you another example. So we had a funeral, right? We thought it only fair. Waiting for him to die and everything. But we had a funeral, and he wanted to be cremated. So we buried him. Fuck. What are you going to do about it? So we cremated him, right? Well, we had people do that. You have to. You have to have someone else do it. You can't do it yourself. They don't allow it. You have to have a license. You can't set fire to a dead body, even if you know the guy. Yeah. So, health and safety or not. So at the funeral, at the crematorium, but he wanted to be cremated in a very specific way. That we only realised, it was a friend of his phoned me about a week before the funeral. Like, you do know this is what he wanted to have happen. I said, I did not know that. We will make it happen. So at the end of the funeral, the celebrant, that's what you call a person who MCs a funeral. Celebrant, I don't know if you see that it's like the upbeat title. Commiserate would have been a better word. It's a bit, yeah, he's dead, isn't it? Anyway, the celebrant, she presses the button and she goes, and now, We committed body to the flames in the manner in which she requested, and the curtain opens and the coffin rolls into the furnace, and we all just hear. Oh, I want somebody to say. Burn, baby, burn. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, our surname is Byrne. And yes, he was the youngest in the family, so it works on so many levels. That was the comedy director's eye to detail, that is, yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to deal with the death of a loved one. I find an excellent way to get over it is to focus on all the times they were a dick. Probably not what a therapist would suggest, but I find it very useful, very helpful, yeah. And I've got quite a catalogue I can draw from. I learned a phrase once because of him being a dick. Seriously, right? We were back in 2019. We were at the Edinburgh Fringe in 2019. Do you remember 2019? Do you remember the last good year? we were at the Edinburgh Fringe. He was there. We were in a bar at the Edinburgh, the Assembly Rooms bar, performance bar. Anyway, he was there with a client. We were having a conversation with them about their show. They were working on their show. I was drinking with my crew, right? I say my crew. I don't have a crew per se. I don't roll with a posse. I was drinking with the technical crew of the venue I was performing in, because I'm a man of the people, and I will drink with the technical crew if two of them are hot. It's nice that joke's funny here, right? Because there needed to be some distance between, that joke and the Russell Brand documentary. There was there when that joke just stopped getting laughs. Anyway, so I'm there with the crew, and I see him. I see him. I'll go up and say hello. All right, mate, I'm over here. Come and say hello. And he goes, yeah. And then I look over about 45 minutes later, and he's gone. He's left. So I looked at the people he was with, and I went, is he fucked off? I went, yeah, he's gone. You heard me say, come and say hello. No, he's gone. Oh, what a dick. And then they said, well, you're both Irish, so if anyone can give you an Irish goodbye, it's your brother. And I had never heard the phrase before in my life. 2019, first time I heard the phrase Irish goodbye. Who here is familiar with the term Irish goodbye? I see a lot of shaking of heads there. Who is? Give me a yes. Wave at me if you're right there. You're familiar with the term. What's your name? Claire. Where are you from, Claire? From Manchester? That's allowed. I love it. Claire, what do you take the term Irish goodbye to mean? Leave without telling or leave without saying goodbye, isn't it? Yeah, what? Because the Irish are too fucking thick to know how to say goodbye. You didn't make up the phrase. Yes, I'm not shooting the messenger here. Yeah, to leave without saying goodbye. That's an Irish goodbye. Are there any Irish people in this room tonight? Yeah? Help me out here. Do Irish people leave without saying goodbye? No! It's fucking bullshit, Claire! Stop using it. It's a fucking rubbish phrase. Irish people do not leave without saying goodbye. Irish people, you should see my dad leave a pub. Olympic levels of goodbye saying goes on. He's a fucking black belt. My dad leaves the pub, he's shaking hands with people he wasn't even fucking talking to that night. My dad leaves the pub, he's shaking hands with people like he's running for mayor of the pub. We are awesome at saying goodbye. It's the most misappropriate use of language in the English language. It's a ridiculous idea. And here's an interesting thing. Do you know what the French call it when you leave without saying goodbye? Anyone know? It's called an English goodbye. Yes. Yeah. How does that feel? But the thing is, I can believe it, you ignorant fucker. Some phrases work. Irish coffee, absolutely. I love a bit of whiskey in my coffee. Absolutely, take that on as an Irish coffee. Glasgow kiss, excellent phrase. I've only ever been headbutted once in my life. Guess what city the man was from? But it's weird that I'd never heard the phrase before. Irish goodbye. It's weird I'd never come across it. Especially because in theory it applies to me. It's weird when a phrase applies to you and you've never heard it. I got hit with one last year. I got hit with a phrase for being left-handed. Something I've been all my life. A good friend of mine, a Canadian stand-up called Glenn Wool, saw me sign. This guy has known me for 30 years. Never knows I was left-handed. So me sign a form. And I've heard a lot of different phrases for being left-handed over the years. Never heard this one. Sees me sign a form, he goes, I never noticed you were pedo-handed. Pedo-handed? Kitto, southpaw, devil fan, sinister, backward, caca, never heard pedo-handed. I pressed him on the issue. I'm sure you don't blame me. Fucking what? Turns out there's something in it. He explained it, and I've since looked it up. There's something in it. Honestly, they've done research. Something like 8% of the population are left-handed. But something like 11% of paedophiles are left-handed. Yeah, I know, that is statistically significant. I don't even trust me anymore. That's how fair I am, Lancaster. Like, as a left-handed person, I am less bothered by the term pedo-handed than I am as an Irish person by the term Irish goodbye. Because this is some fucking in the pedo-hand thing. But it's weird I never heard before. You think I'd have heard it because I am, after all, a paedophile. So here's what happened with Paul. So he was a drinker. You know, he was, I mean, I guess you could say he was an alcoholic. I guess that's what you call it. I didn't realise that maybe at the time, you know, because he wasn't one of those bottle of whiskey in the morning just to get himself going. I just thought, he's just a party drinker. And then one year, at the end of the fringe, about 15 years ago, he drank himself into the hospital. And the NHS were amazing. And they got him back on his feet and they said to him, you know what, you can't do this anymore, you can't drink because your liver can't take it. And he gave it up, like that. No meetings, no 12 steps, just give it up. And then about 5 years after that, he got a Hodgkin's lymphoma, right? He got blood cancer. And again, the NHS were amazing. And they sorted him out. And he said, look, you gave up the drink because your liver's regenerated enough. We can hit you with the heavy-duty chemo, which they did. They sorted it all out. And then coming up, about 3 years ago now, I guess, we were under lockdown. You know, in early 2021, we were locked down, and he got dumped by his girlfriend. And he couldn't even go out, and so he just, I don't know, he hit the bottom for enough time to just break the liver, and then the NHS were busy. Basically, he went to the NHS and said, I think I might have broken my liver, is there any chance I can get a new one? And they said, that won't be a problem. I thought he was going to be okay, everyone came over, this is November 2021 when he got really sick, and everybody came over from Ireland, and I sent them all home, and I looked at my mother's eyes and I said, I promise you, all 4 of your children will dance on your grave, you witch. I sent them home. Why can't I just be nice? And then he was all sorted out, he was all set up, he had a meeting set up for the 23rd of December 2021 with the liver specialist, he was going to get put on the transplant list, and then he went back to his flat, and he got fucking COVID. He got fucking COVID, and so I am uniquely angry about the whole COVID situation, ladies and gentlemen. I am unique because it was COVID, it was lockdown that started the problem, and then COVID itself that finished them off. So I'm angry at everybody. Yeah, I'm angry at people who locked us down, and I'm angry at people who didn't take COVID seriously enough. I'm particularly angry at the people who both locked us down and didn't take COVID seriously enough. Well done. Well, I knew Lancaster, I knew you'd applaud that one. Well done, good job. They didn't like that one in Royal Leamington Spa. Oh, there was some arm folding when I came out with that one in Royal Leamington. Oh, well, we were all working very hard, and anyway, he was ambushed by a cake. I'm very angry about everything. I'm angry about everything. I'm at them all. I'm angry at who locked us down. I'm angry at them hating. I'm angry at him for not looking after themselves. I'm angry at the people who didn't take COVID seriously. I'm angry at the girl who dumped him. I'm angry at the guy who gave him COVID. I'm angry at fucking everybody. Imagine if Nigel Farage went to the Glastonbury Festival. That's me. It's a ball of anger, and I don't know who to direct my hatred at first. People are fucking stupid, ladies and gentlemen. That's the problem. People are stupid. And I can say that because I'm a person. And nobody gets angry about anything anymore, unless there's a fucking TV drama starring Toby Jones made about it. I'm angry at everybody. I mean, but people are fucking morons. They are. Do you know the problem with people being morons? Do you know the problem is that when you tell someone they're a fucking moron, what happens? They don't believe you. They don't stop being a moron, do they? No. They carry on being a moron, but now they're angry with you. Only changing their demeanor. That's what happens. Look at yourselves. When was the last time somebody told you you were a fucking moron, and you went, ooh, I better change my ways. You didn't, did you? No, what did you say? You went, what's this arsehole's problem? That's what you said. You might be wrong. Whatever it is you think you're right about, you might be wrong. I met James Corden once. I thought he was a nice guy. I'm clearly wrong. All evidence points to the contrary, and I have to own that mistake. I don't have a problem with James Corden, too. I do like how much other people hate him, though. Can I enjoy that? Don't you? Oh, I do like how angry other people get. Oh, hate the man in comedy who's not me. Go for yourself. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you this. What was it? Last year. Remember last year? James Corden got banned from a restaurant in New York. And people here were raging at him. He got banned from a restaurant in New York for being rude to the waiter. And English people 4,000 miles away, were up in arms about it. And I've never seen English people suddenly become so Irish. It was beautiful. Because the general reaction was, oh, he's been in that America too long. Just you understand, that's not what happens. If there's something wrong with your food, you don't complain to the waiter, you complain to the person you're eating with. That's what you're supposed to do. The waiter comes up and you go, no, everything's fine. He's forgotten his roots. I don't have a problem with James Corden. Okay, here's my problem with James Corden. It's not him. It's what he represents. Okay? I try not to focus on what other people are doing. I try not to base my image of my own success by comparing myself to other people, because it is just going to lead to bitterness, you know. But the simple fact is, James Corden enjoys a level of privilege I would quite like. Goes along with a level of fame I am not prepared to work for. Right? This causes me issues. I'll give you an example. So, my wife loves tennis. Okay? I know I sound like I'm changing the subject, but I'm not. My wife loves tennis. She particularly loves Wimbledon. She is glued to it. When Wimbledon is on, my wife, she cannot get enough of it. And I love my wife, and I love how much she loves Wimbledon, but I cannot share that joy. I cannot share her enthusiasm. Not because I find tennis achingly dull. Because if I watch Wimbledon with my wife, there's always going to be that moment where they're showing centre court, and the camera will pan to the royal box, and there, without fail, will be some comedian 10 times more successful than me. And it's usually James Corden. James Corden, or it's Michael McIntyre, or it's David Walliams, or it's some other moon-faced cunt. Right? Those are moon faces, isn't it? Those are full moons as well. Maybe a crescent moon. Maybe a slightly beaky, slightly cheeky comedian, is it? No, it's always your fucking with your ace head. Jimmy Carter types with their smug grin plastered across their mile-wide, perfectly circular fucking noggins. Alright, Thomas the Tank Engine, you enjoying the tennis, are you? I mean, he seemed very upset about the death of his brother, but he seemed more annoyed by the shape of other comedians' heads. Really what my takeaway was. Anyway, they'll be Corden, they'll be McIntyre, and I don't even have to look at my wife. I don't have to look at her. I can feel her stare on me. Just boring into me like a laser. Just going. Maybe if you were just a bit funnier. Maybe if you just, I don't know, maybe if you worked a bit harder. Or just maybe if you just a bit more of a crowd pleaser. Maybe you did uplifting shows instead of shows about your dead fucking brother. Yeah, we could be there right now. Watching the tennis. I mean, in a way, it's quite sweet when you think about it. It's actually quite romantic. But she thinks I'd still be with her if I had McIntyre's money. All fantasize about an upgrade, love. But I digress. So that was it. It was COVID. It was COVID that really did for him in the end. And, you know, it's, There's different, there's different ways we could have dealt with COVID. I get that, everyone dealt with it differently all around the world. I've been around the world. I've seen how different people dealt with COVID. I did a tour across Scandinavia. And it was fascinating. I did by the way, Sam, thanks for having an easy name. Really appreciate that. Having been to Scandinavia and done gigs, every time I asked somebody in the audience their name, I was taking my life in my hand. Seriously. There was a woman in Trondheim, right? She had neither fucking vowels nor consonants to her title. I must have asked her name 10 times. Again. One more time. Not the same noise you made a second ago. The fucking wind in the trees. You don't need to call me, for I'm always with you. And here's my impression of every conversation I had in Iceland. Hi, my name's Ed. Hi, my name's their name. Hi, nice to meet you. Their name. Close enough. So I started that tour off in Stockholm, in Sweden. And, that last tour I did, it was surprisingly 5 stars. Anyway, and I was doing some stuff about lockdown. So it was a thing that happened. It was a universal experience. I had some jokes about it. And I could just feel the audience getting away from me. Like a Royal Leamington Spa audience after you've done a party game joke, right? And it suddenly dawned on me. And I went, oh, shit, you guys didn't lock down, did you? And they all went, no. I went, oh, shit, sorry. It's just in the rest of the world, we care about our old people. But the guy in the front row, right where you are, Sam, guy went, oh, too soon. And I said, no, too late. That was funny. I thought that was not funny. That whole thing was, as far as that audience was concerned. And yet how funny every other audience I told that story to has found it. I found that very gratifying. Particularly audiences in Denmark and Norway. They thought it was funny. But my point is, everyone had different attitudes, different opinions about how COVID could be dealt with. And I am open to those opinions, ladies and gentlemen. I am open to notions about where, how it could be dealt with, and hindsight's 2020 and all that. I'm completely happy and up for a debate about a whole bunch. After everything that's happened to me and mine, you got to draw the line somewhere on what you will accept. And I draw the line at outright denial. Yeah? People who deny the existence of COVID-19 can suck the farts from my heart. I'll talk to you all day long about whether it came from a lab, or whether it came from a wet market, or the efficacy of vaccines, or the point of lockdown. We'll talk about that all day. But you come at me with a term like plandemic, and I might just have to stab you in the face. And then tell you that knives don't exist. You can't argue with people. Can't argue with people. Nobody ever wants to admit they're wrong. Nobody ever, and particularly when you get into that sort of conspiracy theory end of the spectrum, because people find it very comforting, and they cling on to it because they get to be the clever person, and everyone else gets to be stupid, and that's a very fun place to be, And if you show a conspiracy theory, if you show them a fact that disproves their theory, they don't change their mind. It just means they have to make the theory bigger to make your fact a lie. I've seen it happen. I had a friend who I just couldn't fucking talk to anymore. He was one of those guys, he started off harmless enough. He was into complementary medicine, alternative therapies, holistic healing. He's actually a qualified homeopath. As is everyone in this room. What you're into. But he got into it to the point where he no longer believed basic, GCSE level biology. So we were having an argument one night. We were chatting about losing weight. And he started telling me, well, you can lose weight using homeopathic means. And I said, yeah, I imagine you only eat things that contain the memory of foods, the way to drop He said, no, you can eat whatever food you like, as long as you take the right homeopathic remedies, you'll still lose weight. And I said, wow, that sounds too good to be true. And he said, doesn't it? And I go, doesn't it? If you eat more calories than you expend, you that energy gets stored as fat and you put on weight. If you expend more calories than you consume, that fat gets burned. It's a simple equation. And he said this, he goes, you believe that calorie bullshit, do you? Oh, you got to do that. You got the hook thing. I bit Lancaster. I bit like a fish who hadn't had enough calories that day. So what is that calorie bullshit? What do you mean? So that turns out, calories do not exist. Yes, that's good news for somebody, I'm sure. Calories were invented by the diet industry to make you feel bad about yourself and to get you to buy products you don't need. I went, what the fuck are you talking about, man? It's just the name we give for the energy you get from your food. And then he said the dumbest thing anyone's ever said to me, which wouldn't have been so bad, but then he smiled like he just said the smartest thing anyone ever said to me. Because he went, yeah, when you're making a meal, or you're watching someone else make a meal, at what point do you put the calories in? Proper stand back like a you need a gentle staple. That's the dumbest fucking thing anyone's ever said to me in my life. When you're building a road, at no point do they back up a big truck full of miles. And yet, the road ends up being long enough. Oh no, they delivered a load of kilometers by mistake. Now one side of the road is going to end up longer than the other. That's how they invented the bed. You'll just believe anything the mainstream media tells you. Oh, look, I appreciate the mainstream media has its issues, it has its agendas, it wants to push on you, but you can't believe the shit you read on the internet. It's fucking rubbish out there. And I pulled the dictionary off the shelf. I went, look, it's right here. Calorie, the unit of energy, the amount of energy required to heat 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius at 1 atmosphere pressure. Turns out, the diet industry has infiltrated the dictionary. Oh, mate, you're being a fucking moron right now. And we had a bit of a row, but then we let it go. We let it go, we moved on, but I just stopped hanging out with him after that. I just couldn't. I just felt like every time it was a row, and I just felt I couldn't reach him anymore. But, do you ever do that thing where you no longer talk to a friend, but you do keep tabs on them via mutual friends, just to make sure you were right? I've been doing that. So a friend of ours, Andrew Maxwell, Irish comedian, who was there that night when we had that row, he's still in contact with him. I said, how's he getting on these days? What's going on? He said, I can't even talk to him anymore. And I have a much higher tolerance for bullshit than you do. He's gone off the fucking reservation. He's completely, and it was that night. And ever since that night, he's gotten exponentially worse. Because that night, I committed the 2 cardinal sins. I showed him a fact that disproved his theory, and I insulted his intelligence by calling him a moron. So now he's doubled down, and he's got exponentially worse, and he's further down the rabbit hole. So now he no longer believes we went to the moon, he no longer believes that the earth is round, and he no longer believes, this is a guy, a middle-aged man with 2 kids, no longer believes in the germ theory of disease, does not believe that bacteria or viruses make you sick. They are byproducts of general decay brought about by the vapors and the humors. And that all started that night when we had that row. So when you think about it, that night we had that argument, when I called him a fucking moron, I was bang on the money. Zero reflection whatsoever from this side of the argument. I mean, what a fucking moron, ladies and gentlemen. I can do the punchlines myself. Just because you might have been able to sneak it in slightly before I did, it might have been because I had comic timing. Trust me, I do not need any further help. But I can't be argumentative. I know. And it's to my cost. It's to my cost. I had a massive massive row with my little brother a while ago, right? Obviously it was a while ago, can't have been yesterday. Massive row. I was helping him move, right? What happened was the girl who eventually dumped him, at this point in time, she had gone back to Australia, that's where she was from, and she had to renew her visa. She had to go home and she's going to do like a couple of months of work back in Australia, and then she was going to come back. But that was early 2020, because we all know what happened. So she got stuck there because of the pandemic, and then they couldn't work, she couldn't work, he couldn't work. So they couldn't afford the flat that he was in, so he had to move out. So I'm helping him move, right? And he's not in great space mentally. And I am helping him move, and we're taking a lot of the stuff to the charity shop, and we're using his phone sat nav to get us there, but it kept taking us the wrong way. It turned out it was set to walking instructions, and we were totally in a fucking car. Right? We were in, if memory serves, a 4.5-year-old Jeep Renegade. So then I bought my phone, we used that instead, but I started then musing on why his phone had done this, right? Because sometimes I'll do that. And I might have even made a joke about how his phone knew he was a fucking loser who didn't own a car. I might have made that joke. Because we're right in the mood. And that joke didn't land, but what happened was the real problem was that I started focusing on it. Sometimes my brain will do this. Sometimes I focus on the wrong thing, and sometimes I latched onto it. Because it's like a puzzle to be solved, why his phone was set on this setting, and I don't realise I'm annoying him. I think I'm just having a conversation. I was like, that was weird that they did that. That's Apple Maps. Was that Apple Maps? I was like, who the fuck uses Apple Maps? Why didn't you Google it? Well, I did Google it, but I just went to Apple Maps. That's a fucked up setting as it is. Whose phone goes to Apple Maps after you Google it? You could go to Google Maps every day. I don't know what you just did it. And it didn't even offer, you didn't even say, do you want walking, do you want to go? And I don't realise I'm winding him all the way up until he eventually just breaks. And he just goes, I don't know! It just fucking did it! I don't know why you're having a go at me about it. It just fucking did it. Now we do this or what? So then I say, dude, don't yell at me while I'm doing you a favour. And that sorted everything out. That was all I needed. Sometimes you just need a slightly patronising slap down from your older brother, and then everything was fine. You went about the rest of the day, getting the job done, and laughing and joking as you went. No, that's not what happened. And then I said, dude, because he goes mentally, he goes, oh, you're going to hold the favour over me, are you? You're going to hold it as usual. You're going to hold the favour over me, and I'm going to behave exactly how you want me to behave because you're helping me out. Mate, I'm not asking you to suck me cock. I'm just asking you to keep your hatred for me to yourself until I finish helping your ass out. And we just went at it in the way only two people who shared a bedroom for 13 years can go at it. We weren't arguing about phones or sat navs or anything. We were arguing about everything that was wrong with the other person, and we knew exactly how to push each other's buttons. And it ended up with him just going, I don't need this shit, and getting out of the car and fucking off. I wish it had ended with that, because it didn't end with that. It ended with me leaving my car with the engine running at a green light and going after him because I wasn't done arguing yet. I followed him down the road. Oh, you're a fucking piece of work, aren't you? Yeah. You know Glenn, you're going to help him today? Yeah. Glenn who called me pedo hand, but he's still nice to me and you. Yeah. He went on, but you're out and you're an ungrateful little cunt. And then I phoned our older brother, and I said, I've just had a massive row with Paul. I've called him an ungrateful little cunt, and if those are the last words I ever say to him, I'll be happy with that. Yes, I did say be careful what you wish for. Sorry, they weren't the last words I ever said. They weren't. Because as I say, we did meet up in the hospital. But they very nearly were the last words I ever said to him. It's not even about whether they were the last word. The point is that when we had that argument, I didn't know, and he didn't know, that at that point in time, he had only 16 months left on the planet. And for 12 of those months, we didn't speak. That feels like kind of a waste of time now. And I carry my grudge around like it was something important. I'm leaving the house going, right, I got my keys, got my phone, got my wallet, got my grudge against Paul. Okay, right, this is it. Yes. And I did, look, I did phone him, I texted him to apologise. I'd be like, very important, I established that with you. I did text him, I did apologise, but more importantly, I did not mean it. Yes, and he texted me back and he apologised, and I know he didn't mean this either because game recognised game. But then we did eventually. You know, there was a bit of like group text, you know, family, and there was a couple of family Zooms and stuff like that. And we did eventually reconcile, and more about that later. And then we met up. We met up then in the hospital, and it was like nothing had ever happened. It was old times, and we were just sitting there shooting the shit, talking about his health. We even talked about my health for a change. Yes. Back to me. No, those conversations we had in the hospital are very, very, very special to me now. I remember one that we had, we were talking about, he was asking me how I was getting on, and I told him that I was pursuing a diagnosis for about my